Hey guys, in this video we're going to show you how to get your deck looking brand new without sanding it. My name is Matt. I'm with Pure Flow Home Solutions. We do home maintenance and we help other people with their home maintenance. In our videos we show you kind of home maintenance tips. In this one we're just going to show you how we remove all this dirt and nasty stuff off of wood. And then we also have some composite here, so we're going to show you how we clean that up and we get it taken care of. What we have here is we have a tenant, or a client here in Newberg who we manage a couple different Airbnbs for and a couple different rental properties. And so the client here is complaining that the deck has gotten slippery, it's hard to walk on. And this is really common, out here in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to deal with moss, algae, stuff like that. That's going to make it dangerous to walk on. So what we're going to go ahead and do is get all this algae and stuff cleaned up. And then as a result of removing all this stuff, it'll make the deck look a lot better. It'll make it look brand new again and again, without sanding it. And so, yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll show you guys what we're doing step by step and what chemicals we're using to get this job done. All right, and so in order to kind of clean what we need to clean here, we need to kind of understand what are we working with here. And so we have algae, moss, obviously, and dirt. And so what's going on is the algae and the moss will trap a lot of dirt inside of it, which is going to keep it looking kind of nasty. It'll keep the algae will be, slippery. And so to kill this stuff, we use high alkaline products. The one that in particular that we're going to use is called sodium percarbonate. And what sodium percarbonate does is it turns into basically the same as peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, when it interacts with water. The reason why we use this one, there's, some people use bleach and stuff like that. The reason why we don't when we're working with wood products is because if there's an existing stain or anything like that, the bleach can actually remove it and cause damage to the boards. And so we use sodium percarbonate. If you're familiar with Billy Mays, his old commercials of OxyClean, this is the same stuff. It's OxyClean is 50% sodium percarbonate and 50% soap. And so we have the sodium percarbonate here. It's perfect for killing organics, right? It'll remove the algae and the moss. I'm gonna go ahead and show you here. This is Hayden. He's got the sodium percarbonate here, and we're gonna mix 1/2 cup per gallon. So we got about 3 gallons here. It doesn't need to be perfect, but we're gonna go ahead and mix in 3 of these cups, and or half cups, I'm sorry. And that's gonna be perfect. And you'll see we have 2 buckets here. And the reason why we have 2 buckets, one of them is going to be for the sodium percarbonate solution, which he'll stir up. And then the other one here is just for rinsing it. And so you'll see we have this brush. Hayden's going to use it to stir real quick. But the brush, essentially when we put it on the wood, we want to make sure that we can agitate it into the wood a little bit. So we'll use the brush to agitate it. When that happens, it's going to get really dirty. It's going to get moss and dirt and mud all over it. And so we have this other bucket here, and that's just to rinse it, just before we go ahead, say we get some of the dirt off, it's on the brush. We want to rinse it before we put it back in the percarbonate. Now, there's going to be dirt getting inside of the percarbonate solution, which is fine. But if you have a bunch of it going in there, it's just going to dilute the concentration, and it's going to make it less of a potent concentration to kill that moss and that algae. So it'll just take longer. It's not going to be as effective. And so we just like to rinse out our brushes a little bit before we put them in there, and that's why we have that second 5-gallon bucket here. All right, so here's the deck. We have there's moss, algae, and stuff growing. Hayden's gonna go ahead and scrub on a little bit of sodium percarbonate. You see that? Yeah, it's brightening up right before your eyes. Again, so what's happening here is just that, the algae and the moss and stuff is gonna trap a lot of that dirt. Unless you use a chemical like sodium percarbonate to kill it, it's not going to come off. It's going to stay in there. Now, you could pressure wash it out of there, but pressure washing is really bad for wood, and it'll cause a lot of damage to it. So we just use this technique. We will use a pressure washer, but not to use a lot of pressure on it. We'll use tips that are designed for soft washing. And so what that means is the tips that we put on our pressure washing gun will disperse a small, soft, not high pressure amount of pressure to make sure that we're not damaging the wood. Because again, you know, you can start splintering the wood. You can cause years and years of damage to wood with just using a pressure washer improperly. So soft washing for wood is always going to be the way to go. And again, we want to brush in the sodium percarbonate. That's what we're doing here. So just wanted to show you guys, this is what it's looking like while we're working on it. You can see kind of the old wood wants to come out, just a layer of dirt on top. We'll have to wash that away. But you can see the percarbonate is foaming up. That means that it's reacting with the organics, just like when peroxide, you know, if you use it to clean like a wound or something, it starts fizzing. Same concept here. So I just want to show real quick before we keep moving along. This is where we're at. Hayden and me just scrubbing this. Look how easy that comes up. Look at the color on that compared without rinsing it yet. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start rinsing it off. You can see we're using a really soft pressure mainly just to rinse, and we'll start at the top and go work our way down. Really simple stuff here. Some of this you can see has darker oil stains. Those need an acid treatment to get all the way out. We're not going to do that today. Our main concern is just killing off the organics so that it's nice and clean and doesn't cause any more of a trip hazard for the tenant here. Of course, when you finish up, we just want to spray down any of the walls and stuff because they'll get dirty. Go ahead and spray this bottom part out, and then we're just going to do the rest of the deck. So as you can see, we've just finished scrubbing it. Everything's nice and scrubbed down. The color's already changed quite a bit. And so now all we have to do is go ahead and rinse this away. As you can see, we wrapped up rinsing it off. This deck's looking really good, especially compared to where it started. You see some of these deeper stains here. It's called tannin. These are a little bit harder to get rid of. They require acid treatment. We typically won't do an acid treatment unless we're prepping the deck for staining. And that's one thing, you know, we want to bring up here is just that regular maintenance is so important for your decks. If this deck was stained, you know, the oil stains will keep the water from building up on it, will keep algae from growing back, keep moss from growing. And you know, you can see that inside the wood, you know, some of these etchings, you know, these are from the moss and the algae eroding away on it. And so by keeping the stain on there, you know, it keeps it from happening. Of course, when you're doing a deck, you know, something like this, the proper procedure would be to remove the stain, do the sodium percarbonate, do an acid, let it dry, sand it a little bit, and then go ahead and put the new stain down, and they'll keep you good for 3 to 5 years usually. All right. So what we got here, Hayden, why don't you go ahead and set up the X-Jet on the pressure washer. So we got here, this is sodium hypochlorite. This is basically household bleach. This is a stronger mix than what you can get at the store. And so sodium hypochlorite is an active ingredient. Household bleach is about 6% sodium hypochlorite. This is 12% sodium hypochlorite undiluted. We got about 1.5 gallons in here. So when we got this composite deck or Trex decking, you know, this stuff's really easy to work with. It's a mix of wood and it's a mix of plastic. And so, you know, with regular wood, we don't really want to treat with sodium hypochlorite. It'll destroy it. But the Trex decking, you know, is really easy. We spray the sodium hypochlorite on there. It'll kill the organics just like the sodium percarbonate will, and then remove from the Trex decking without causing damage. And so, Hayden, go ahead and bring this bucket up here. I'll show the X-Jet real quick. The X-Jet, all this is a pressure washer attachment. And so one end is gonna feed into the hose. The other end of the hose goes into the bucket. And all that happens is we don't need 12% sodium hypochlorite. We only need about 1% or 2%. And so what this does is it actually dilutes it. Hayden's gonna go ahead and drop the bucket in there. We'll just show you real quick. Can you hold that, buddy?
Of course.
Thank you, sir. So you can see the nozzle's open. We're gonna go ahead and spray. Push that back. Thank you, sir. You want to push it back all the way, buddy? Just so I can get that area.
Someone's calling you.
Is it still going?
Yep.
All right. Let's go ahead. Thank you, sir. All right, go ahead and move down a little bit. So what's going on is this goes through the X-Jet and into the pressure. That's going to give us the ratio that we need. Go ahead and close that out. So now it's all dwelling. We're just going to give it a couple minutes to pressure or to dwell. Then we're just going to give it a low pressure rinse and we're out of here. We're cold. It's a lot of work we did. We're going to go home. Thanks for watching.